I don't know if they can turn the lights down a little bit because I want you all to see the information I brought to share. So if anybody is in control, huh? Can you all see that? Well, yeah. Okay. I want to begin in tradition, and the tradition I'm using is that whenever you come to a village in Africa, whenever you come to a village, you have to first ask permission from the elders to even enter the village and to speak. And so I'm going to ask, I think, Leonard, you might be the oldest person in the room.
Be careful.
And so I'm going to ask my elder if he will give me permission to speak.
Brother, your speech is so correct, so divine. Anytime you wish to speak on
That's really not humbling now. Humbling, but I want the young people to recognize that this protocol is not pomp and circumstance. It is in fact a very important habit to pick up. Is that as you engage in conversation with your community, you must always seek permission from eldership. And the reason for that is because in African thought, the elder has a fundamental purpose, and that is the purpose of protecting. And you protect the young from enemies. And the most dangerous enemy to protect the young from is ignorance. And so by asking the elder to speak, the elder is saying you have something to say that is not detrimental to the thought and the development of our community, and therefore you should proceed. Now, I've known Leonard for 40 or almost 50 years, and so this was the setup, but had Leonard said, no, you do not have my permission to speak, I would have taken that very seriously. And I would have simply put down this thing, Bobby would have fallen on the floor and fainted, but I would have walked out. I would have literally walked out here because I had to go back and find out what I don't know so that I can come back and seek my elder's permission to teach. So it's a relationship that we should all recognize, because too often you get a lot of accolades before you know it, your head's so big, you think you can say anything anywhere, and that is not true. And it's important to acknowledge that eldership guides us at all times. And everybody has an elder. The 9-year-old should ask the 13-year-old. The 13-year-old should ask the 18-year-old. Everybody has an elder to give permission for. In that tradition, it is also important that I ask you all to allow me to assume a posture of reverence and respect while I give praise and credit to the source of all knowledge and all wisdom. And I do that by saying out loud that the Almighty, who is sometimes called Amun, and is sometimes called Ptah, and is sometimes called Papa Legba, and is sometimes called Sheshach, and is sometimes called Jehovah, and is sometimes called Oshun, and is sometimes called the Christ, and is sometimes called Shango, and is sometimes called Allah, and is sometimes called Nana Pragu, and is sometimes called Oludumare, and is sometimes called Atum, and is sometimes called Gambala, and is sometimes called Amun, that Almighty God, Ptah, Ra, although hidden, is the source of all knowledge and all truth and all wisdom. And I pray that what I share with you this moment will be acceptable and satisfied to Amun, Tehuti, Olumila. It is a statement, it is an invocation. And I want also us to recognize that when we invoke, we are calling upon spirit and energy to guide us. And now I hope it's just one time. In the Western world, they ask you to give your footnotes and your references when you write stuff and read stuff. Well, that's kindergarten stuff. I just gave you my footnotes and my references. And it's calling upon those names, those niches that represent the most high, the most deepest understandings of the world. I am going to try to go slow. Even though I should share with you that I talk fast because my mama talked fast and she taught me how to talk. So I will try to slow down, but I wanted us to contemplate and think about some ideas that I want to share with you. And I've entitled my remarks, Walking in the World as Dim. Walking the World as Dim, Accelerating African Spiritual Growth. And my assistant here, sorry. My phone? That's good. Okay. My assistant here, well, I want you to recognize the future of my lineage. Murray, you stand up. This is my granddaughter. And so when I get lost in my thoughts, I'm asking her to come up here and take over. But this is my lineage, and I'm doing a couple of things at your expense. I'm kind of passing on a mantle. I'm asking her to assist me, but in assisting me, hopefully that she will see something that makes sense and take it on, or she will see something that don't make sense and throw it away. Because that's our responsibility as well, is to understand things, to use them. Thank you. And she's going to be clicking for me. She's going to be moving my mind as I go through. See, she's going to be moving my mind as we go through. So I want to talk about this idea of walking in the world as dim, accelerating African spiritual growth. Go, please. And so what I want to do is talk about, there's two pillars in my thinking that we have to reclaim. One is memory, the other is imagination. We have to remember, and then remember the old. And our old is very old. Go back. And then to imagine the future. So I want you to carry that, memory and imagination. And the way I want to spark this idea of memory, this comes out of Daughters of the Dust by Julia Dash. She has a statement where she has one of her actors, Nana Prasad, state something to the community. And what Nana Prasad states is that it is up to the living to keep in touch with the dead. Man's power doesn't end with death. Man's power doesn't end with death. We just move on to a new place, a place where we watch over our living family. The ancestors in the womb, they're one. They're the same. Those in the grave, like those over across the sea, they're with us. They're all the same. The ancestors in the womb are one. Call on your ancestors. Let them guide you. You need their strength. I need you to make the family strong again like we used to be. I need you to make the family strong like we used to be. All of those old Africans, they'll come to you when you least expect them. They'll hug you up quick and soft, like the warm, sweet wind. That breeze that touches your hair sometimes, you don't know where it's coming from. Let those old souls come into your heart. Let them feed your head with wisdom that ain't from this day and time. And that's where I want to go. I want to go to that place of wisdom that ain't from this day and time. Next, please. So, imagination is a little more difficult to talk about, but I believe as one of the architects of this field called African psychology, Sakajeti, that we have a fundamental task and challenge. We who are black psychologists have a fundamental task and challenge, and it has to do with rescuing the minds of our people. And that rescuing the minds of our people is very complicated and very difficult. But what I've suggested to my colleagues is that the fundamental task and challenge of the African-centered scholar is to defend and promote the interest and image of Africa and Africa's children by understanding the past, the present, the future of our human story. Our human story has been distorted, has been damaged, has been thrown away, has been hidden from us. So we have to rescue that, our human story. All our training has been based upon their story. And we graduate from colleges and places, and we think we're intellectual or intelligent because we can quote some dead French philosopher or some German critique and think that that's our story. That's not our story. We have to rescue our story. And through our story, Africanize it in every single way. These are some words that sometimes people get, Leonard always messes with me, he talks about when I do this one. When we look at epistemological, terminological, aesthetic, and hermeneutical groundings of the scientific, artistic, and investigative discourse. Let me point out, words are just words, but the words have deeper meaning that we have to use to capture that with. And sometimes we get pushback when someone talks and uses words like epistemological. Yeah. What's that? What are you talking about? Epistemological. What? And I'm going to do this just for the purpose of instruction. Epistemological is a word. And most of the time our community backs off when we say epistemological. But there's another word. I believe it has the same amount of letters. It's motherfucker. Now, black folks don't get all tripped up when you hear that word. You don't get all tripped up. But we hear epistemological, we say, what is he talking about? It's words. Words are tools. And so we can master the tools. And don't let any word be foreign to us. But go behind the word and find out what its deeper meaning is. And so this idea for us as psychologists is that we must simultaneously understand our past, understand in terms of the grounding of our analytical, our theoretical, our therapeutic, our clinical restorative processes. All of those have to be dealt with because we can't do what our Western psychological state has given us. You got a problem, sister, and I'm going to take you to my office and you just lay on the couch and I'm going to ask you, talk about your mama, your daddy, and why you were traumatized. No, it's deeper than that. And we got to understand our own development, and that's the imagination. We have to imagine a new therapy. We have to imagine a new science of human functioning that's basic, made for us. And that's what I want to carry you through. Next, please. I want to carry you through. I have argued a long time ago that, we struggle with this power. And when I was a student, we were all, calling ourselves revolutionaries. We're going to overthrow the government, do all that stuff. And we play around, out in California. You all know, got some guns on Sacramento with guns and stuff. We do all kinds of stuff. It became very clear to me that this power, even though Mao said this, the power's out of the barrel of a gun. That's what Mao Zedong said, power comes out of the barrel of a gun. He was not right. He was not correct. He was clearly a very important figure in the world, but he was not correct. Power is the ability to define reality and to have other people respond to your definition as if it were their own. Power is the ability to define reality and have other people respond to your definition as if it were their own. And the most important reality to define is the meaning of your own human being. Not your personal stuff. We ain't got no individual stuff, really. It is the humanity of you to define that. Power is the ability to define reality. I used to tell my students that that's so important that once I define your reality as you are inferior, black folks, you are inferior, the moment black people accept that definition of our inferiority, they have power over us. To the point where I will get educated, I will get money, I will get jobs, I will get in my Mercedes-Benz and drive out of my community, go to the white community to buy ice. Because I believe that white ice is colder than black ice. That's power. Because it even denies the natural laws of nature. There's no such thing as black ice and white ice. But we think white folk stuff is good. You got Africans jumping over themselves to get to America. They won't come to America. We got black folks here jumping over themselves to get away from the black community because someone has told us that whiteness is better than blackness. And so when I get well and healed, I got to get away from you niggas. And I got to move away from this. That's power's ability to find reality. And have other people respond to your definition as if it were their own. Right. So they just defining everything, it's defining the meaning of who I am as a being. Next please. Next please. And so I want to talk about this idea of the meaning of being. The meaning of being and the notion of spiritness. I've been struggling as a scientist of human function, of African functioning, of getting away from this notion that black people are just spiritual. We spiritual, yeah, we go to any old religion, we'll come to it. And that's okay, that's not a criticism. Any religion that we see, we'll try. We become Hindu one day, we become Catholic another day, we try Islam another day, we go Holy Baptist another day. You can find black folk in every single religion there is. And not only do we get in it, we get deep in it. To the point where they'll allow us to now have religious wars where I'm a Muslim, I gotta fight all the brothers who are black Israelites. And we get all crazy with that. Religion is not the issue. It is energy, spirit, power. And I want to take you on a trek, if you will, about this notion of spirit. And what I've done in African psychology is talk about spiritness as opposed to spirituality. Spiritness. Spirituality has to do with the quality of being spiritual, but spiritness has to do with being spirit. And that's what I want us to think about, and for you to think about. If it makes sense, work with it. If it doesn't make sense, throw it away. Next, please. So, go back if you can. That's the up arrow, the down arrow. Okay, go back. No, keep going down. We're dancing now. Keep going. So, this is important to go back to ancient Kemet. Ancient Kemet is important not because, it's almost like, we have to find that place that was uncontaminated by alien ideas. We're in our historical trek. We find a place where we can look at these African ideas and begin to interrogate them. That's what I want to do. I want to interrogate. Don't go back to ancient people and say, oh, we won't go back because we got something y'all ain't got. No, there's some mistakes everywhere, in every epoch, that we as human beings experiment, try stuff out. It doesn't work, we correct it. But ancient Egypt is a good place because what it really does is allow us to look at things. And I use this image here. Oh, I'm going to put it, pictorial images. We are taught that there's something called episteme, the process of knowing and producing knowledge. Well, there's episteme not in just words and writing in encyclopedias. There's epistemes in imaging, in ideas. In fact, each one of you is an episteme. Each one of you, the way you walk, the way you look, when you get up in the morning, start to put your feet together. You decide, oh, this works, now we're going to step on our side. You are an episteme. You said, I am a knowing entity. And so we got to look at that because they make all our pictorial stuff deviant. So our lips are too thick, our nose is too fat, our hair too kinky, our skin too dark. And so all the stuff that's about us, which is epistemological imaging, they define as inferior. So we got to rescue that. And so when I look at, I don't know if you can see, if I look at this Anubis is an important thing because Anubis is one of those netters in ancient Egypt. Netters, sometimes they say is God, but they really are attributes of nature. Netters are attributes of nature. And Anubis is an important one for me because Anubis was the god of mummification. And they automatically have our minds going, oh, need her. Mummification, you talk about the dead. They even take our books and call them the book of the dead. You know? They get us confused. But it wasn't, mummification wasn't this strange thing. Mummification was the preparation for the spirit that was manifested at the living time to step into the afterlife as spirit. And so this Anubis was an important feature because Anubis was responsible for ensuring that the weighing of judgment and illumination was done correctly. Hold that in your minds. Judgment and illumination. Judgment and illumination. How do we understand who we are, what we do? And so Anubis was responsible for that, and it had to make sure it was conducted correctly, and it led to, Anubis leads us into the afterlife. So now here's a philosophical conversation. Our ancient ancestors said, your life doesn't end with death. You don't stop. You don't end with death. You move into another realm. And in fact, sometimes this doesn't, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But you know, when we used to bury our people, we would lay them in the coffin with our hands across our chest like this. And this is really the sign in ancient Egypt of the double crossing, life after this. Now sometimes we see us burying our dead, we bury them like this. That's a big shit. Because here's double crossing. Here it is, he ain't gonna get up no more. Understand the episteme. Understand the known and the knowledge of this in everything we do. Even to the point when you look at this, when you do this, this is a sign of God, the sign of spirit. And so when someone jumps up and puts a gun on me, I say, hold up. I'm not giving up. Listen, you're surrendering. I'm not giving up. I'm saying I'm calling upon the spirit to deal with this issue right now. I'm talking about all the force and power of energy. See, it is in fact, all this is episteme. All this is knowledge. All this is pictorial. And so we want to look at that. Go to the next one, please. And so you all can see this hidden. But this one here. This is not a commercial, but it could be a commercial. This here is the Hall of Double Mati. It's sometimes called the psychostasis, this picture. And this is where, I wish I had a clicker here, this is where Anubis carries the initiate into the afterlife before what? Judging. Yes. Judging. And judging is based upon the weighing of the heart against the balance of a feather. You all know that story. But that judgment is the first attempt at psychological analysis. But we don't see that as psychological analysis. We just see that as some myth of some strange stuff and get a body with some kind of strange head on and stuff, and we get all pushed back from it. But there's deeper meaning here. But the deeper meaning has to do with you have to be good in life. And good in life, then you are able to step off into the afterlife as a living being. If you're not good in life, then you have to, in fact, understand that your destiny is to be devoured. Now that's not heaven and hell stuff, so don't go tripping on that. Oh, I'm going to go to hell if I don't do good. No, it's a different kind of epistemology we're looking at. Next, please, baby. And so this is, I really want to talk about this because this has to do with Newton. And you know this image, this is all epistemology, this is all science. It's not art here. They want to think this is ancient Egyptian art. Oh, it's so fascinating. The colors are still there in the walls of the tomb. Oh, it's so fascinating. Now, this ain't art. It's science. And so what Newt is doing, the feminine energy is standing over and shielding humans from chaos. That's from your sisters. They ain't saying, well, I'm put all the weight on the woman, but the fact of the matter is she's standing over with her hands and feet touching the four corners of the universe, north, south, east, and west. There's nothing outside of the image of womanness, of feminist. And in doing that, the brother Shu, is holding up. What's he touching? He's touching her breast and her vagina. Man, that's pornographic. He's trying to get her excited. No, see, don't understand this deep meaning of African thought. The masculine principle is holding up the feminine principle in saying that I am responsible for protecting that which nurtures life, the breast, and that which brings forth life, the vagina. You can begin to read. Last I said, you got to see with African eyes. You got to hear with African ears. You got to speak with an African mouth. So we got to start trying to do that. And so we go back and reinterrogate our stuff. And maybe we want to go now and look at these streets and see what graffiti our young people are writing on the walls. They're writing all over and try to interpret that. But see why they put altars when little kids get shot. And the kids, our children, will put altars, they create altars. But we didn't teach them that. Or did we teach them? Did our spirit teach them? You see, so we got to look at ourselves that way. Next, please, baby. And so I want to talk about this notion of spirit versus spirituality, the science of the spirit. I rejected Western psychology. Long time ago, in fact, this is a good story, and I hope I'm keeping time. I was a student in my teacher, white teacher, so I want you to go to the APA. APA is the White Psychological Association. I want you to go to the APA, and I want you to be a gopher. Gopher? That's what I said, no, I want you to look at these white scholars, and they're very important, and I want you to go for this, or go for that. They want water, go for water. They want paper, go. Listen, what kind of shit is this gopher? I said, well, no, I ain't sure now. Race ain't so cool. Maybe I better get this little extra credit up in here, right? Put a little stuff in the bank, a little extra credit. So I went down there and I had my plan. I'm newly married. My wife was there. We got one little child. I said, I'm gonna go there and make sure. Where the professor at? Oh, I'm here, Mr. Goldberg. I'm here. I said, oh, good. Check you out. As soon as he checked me out, I said, get the hell out of here. Walked to the side, get out the door. Left the hotel. And as I was walking by the hotel, I saw three or four black psychologists. In my time, there weren't a whole bunch of black psychologists. You know, we knew about, one or two. But I saw 3 or 4 black psychologists. And they were standing by the bar. They were standing by the bar. And they was cussing. So again, this is for only purpose of instruction. They were saying, I'm tired of this shit. These motherfuckers always talking about being fear. Always talking about we can't learn. They said, what? These are my kind of people. So all right. See, this is what I'm talking about. I ain't seen but one psychologist in my whole academic career. So I'm going, listen to them. They're talking, yeah, let's go, so-and-so's woman. Let's talk about this. So I'm following with them, me and a couple of students. Said, let's figure this out. So we're going to petition the power. We're going to speak the power. We're going to tell these white folks we want to have a caucus, black caucus, so we can have the issues that black folks talk about. And the younger folks, including me, said, y'all was cussing. Fuck that shit. we ain't going to be no part of this. Let's go for broke. We should start our own association. So we debated. It's like 2 o'clock in the morning. My young wife is home. The house was open open. Damn, my wife's home by herself with a little baby. I'm going to talk to these brothers. I can't leave. I'm doing some trauma here, right? No, look, we're going to break. So finally, this intergenerational debate ended up with the young people winning, saying, let's break away and start our own association. So we did that. We said, break away. We're going to break from APA and start the Association of Black Psychologists. Did that. Got an Association of Black Psychologists. Here's the moral lesson. The next day, we got an Association of Black Psychologists, but we don't have no black psychology. So that means we had to get to work. We had to do the work. We had to create a discipline. A science. See, to me, you know, I'm involved. That's a major breakthrough. We stepped off and said, we're going to create a science. No, never mind trying to figure out how we can negotiate with white folks about, can we put some color in it? Can we just all get along? We said, no, we're going to break away, step across the barrier and say, we're going to start our own discipline. Yeah. And for 50 years, in June of 2018, the National Association of Black Psychologists will have its 50th anniversary in Oakland. 50 years. As an independent, free-thinking, sometimes we don't think as free, but an independent, free-thinking professional organization dealing with the science of black human function. That's an achievement. That's an achievement. We need to do. We're still struggling. We're still being confused. We're still dealing with, maybe we need to figure out how we can do some partnership with APA. There's all the tension. There's politicians in our own community. So, but I want to point out that this notion of the science of the spirit is where I'm taking my discipline. I'm not only talking about the science of human behavior. I give you a green lollipop, I give you a red lollipop, and I see which one of you can learn better. That's so low level, so stupid. We can go there. We can go something deeper. Next, please, baby. And so, here's what I want to suggest to you. Now, I'm going to go slow here. Slow here. The question is one of consciousness. Consciousness. And I want to suggest that human black consciousness is more than being simply aware. Consciousness is more than being simply aware. It is both the substance, essence, and the state condition of all that exists. My consciousness is the substance and the state of all that exists. There's nothing outside my boundary. I'm knowing. But they're just thinking we gotta have can we close the achievement gap? And black kids gotta be as smart as white kids by sitting in an integrated school. That's what we do. You see how confused we are here? And so this notion of consciousness is important. It is the capacity to absorb all life. My African consciousness is the capacity to absorb all life and information. It is being aware, being unaware, and being beyond awareness. Stop again. Think! My consciousness is being aware, being unaware. How does that work? Being conscious is to be unaware. What does that mean? Let's go and work on that. That's your assignment. Y'all figure that out. We got to be doing the work here. And being beyond awareness. Consciousness is in fact the essence, the energy, and the expression of black people as a material and mental, non-physical reflection of the spirit. So now through the deep water now. Through the deep water, I'm trying to figure out what the spirit stuff is. Through deep water. And that it is a reflection, expression of spirit, and the vibratory evidence of energy. My consciousness is the vibratory evidence of energy. What does that mean? How do we unpack that? How do we deal with that? Black consciousness is that which transcends thought and penetrates everything so as to make being black aware of itself. Being black aware of itself. That's what consciousness is. And that human consciousness is a huge complex of natural divine energy in the form of sensorial informational ideations. Here's that big word now. You know the MF, don't push back on sensorial informational ideation. You don't push back on EMF, so don't push back on that. And so this sensorial information ideation is part of what I'm doing when I look at the analysis of the Haitian Revolution and seeing what ideations were captured in Mackendall's mind, what ideations were captured in Bookman's mind, what ideations were captured in Toussaint's mind, and then how those ideations get mixed up with African thought and French thought, and then we have a revolution and turn around and we give it back to them. We give the wind back to them. That's what we have to think about. And so finally, I want to say that the human soul is where our religion gets confused with us. But the human soul is the Spirit of God. I got to think about that. The human soul is the Spirit of God. And who is God? I'm looking at him. And so this thing of spirit and soul is us. It says the larger us is God. The more expansive us is God. The macrocosm, the minute piece is my soul. Next one, baby. And so I want to now quickly go through this because, again, go back to ancient Kemet. And I don't think we should stay in Kemet. Sometimes we get so, we Afrocentric people get so enamored with ancient Kemet that we drown in the Nile. We just drown there. We don't go no further. But you can't drown in the Nile. But listen, look at this. There's 7 parts of the psychic nature that our ancestors identified. They weren't playing back in the day. He said, I want you to understand how complex and really is how elegant our conceptions of being human is. And so they argue about these notions of the spirit, the vision of spiritness. And the first is Ka. Ka is the essence of all the visions of the soul, and Ka is the God in us. Ka. So you want to talk about it. You say, you want to talk about, I had a thought. Something came over me. What was that come over me? I had a feeling. That's the Ka in you. When you walk into the room, you see some people acting all strange. There's something going on up in here. But back in here, that's the Ka speaking to you. So I'm just giving you language now, terminology you can use to explain what's going on. We always did. So there's a Ka. There's also this notion of Ba. And Ba has to do with the invisible source of all visible functions. The invisible source of all visible functions. When you get angry, or when you fall in love, or when you are confused, it is the vibratory energy of the Ba. Now hold on to that Ba, because Ba will come back to you in a minute. Ba is the invisible source of all human functions. It is the breath of life. It is, in fact, that physical sign that we can see that this material life is over. And I'm dead. That last breath. That's the Ba leaving you. So we need to look at our own anatomical features here. All right, the Ba. Then the Kaba has to do with the luminous and tangible covering of the vital principle. Go to church. Kaba. Minister Jones gets all excited. He starts preaching. He looks over his shoulder and says to the choir, y'all sing that song you know I like so well. And the choir starts jamming. And he starts sweating. The luminous spirit is in, that's his Kabbalah. But we don't say, oh man, preacher shorty preached today. Woo, what's he preaching? Woo, we can't see with African eyes. He starts glowing. He starts glowing. The same thing when your mama, when you're old enough, that first day of school, your mama would take you and she would polish you up. She'd put Vaseline on your face. We said, she didn't want you to go to school, no ashy elbows, no knees, right? That's what we said. But the real thing is that fashioning up was activating the Kabbalah in us. So the luminous energy would reflect itself, and if I shine on the outside, I certainly will have the inside activated, and I can learn anything. Even when the teacher is an evil, dirty, anti-African person, I will teach myself. See, there's a spirit here that we can unpack and understand. So the Kabbalah, and then go to the next one. Oh, wait. The Kabbalah is believed to have a significant part of disease. And so maybe we don't have, and here's I'm having an ongoing engagement with my colleagues, maybe we don't have mental illness. Maybe what we have is spirit damage. Spirit damage. And that our Kabbalah has been wounded by the experiences. Think about that. Think about that. Let's work with that and see what it makes sense. Go next one, please, baby. And so the Aku, and I'm not doing this commercial, but I can say that. These ain't commercials, but this book here is called Seeking the Saku. The Saku is the definitive of Aku. And Aku has to do with known as the intelligence and mental perception. So I've taken my first 40 years of scholarship as an African psychologist as an edited text and said, that is the Saku, because what I'm doing is seeking and understanding. I don't know nothing. I'm seeking an understanding of the spiritness, and the Saku is an important part of that. The Aku is characterized by attributes of judgment. Go back to looking at the feminine principle and the weight of the heart. That's the reason why I created that ritual of weighing the heart, because they said in our spirit in our spirit, there are characteristics that allow us to judge, to analyze, and to engage in mental reflection. That's your job, to engage in analysis, judgment, and mental reflection about what it is to be African, what it is to be black. The Seb has to do with the understanding of the manifestation of humans. It doesn't occur to adolescence. At some point, you are no longer a child. So you got to put away childish stuff because your Seb is becoming activated. The power of this, these are all features of the same spirit. So don't go and make this new irregular set. We're trying to put the pieces together. It ain't that. This is all one spiritual energy that has differential vibratory impulses. You follow that? And so our spirit is like that, and the Seb has to do with this understanding that at some point I have the power to what? To generate myself. At adolescence is when I have the, we say it's physical power. We go out and say, oh Lord, you didn't come to now, you ain't paying attention to algebra. You look at the classroom with them big leg girls. You know, all his hormones are kicked in. We think that's physicality. It's partly that, but the more important thing is that my Seb has begun to vibrate and to activate. And I have now the spirit power, the ability to reproduce my kind. I can reproduce myself. I can reduce my granddaughter's name is Morami. Her dad is Nigerian. But I take her name and she says it's more of me. I say it's more of me. More of me is more of me. Because I had at some point the power to generate life, produce her mama produced her, and she will produce on and on and on. It's all spirit. So we got to look at this stuff into the spirit and physical. The Buddha has to do with mental maturity of the individual. It's the intellect. It says the intellect, the part of my spirit that governs intellect is responsible for what? Governing conduct. I can't say, oh, I got so excited I couldn't help myself. No, your mind controls you. In fact, there's this, I've been told that there were rituals of maturity that were done with this Buddha where young men were put into a tent, a room. And in that room, there were all these beautiful young girls, completely naked, with all this oil on them, glistening. And his charge of intellect and maturity was that he could be in that room and he could not get an erection. Brothers here, you was put in the room. You was put in the room. But all these beautiful young women, breasts all firm, butts all tight, they naked, they're doing all this cool stuff, you're staying there. My mind, I think I would have to say I flunked the class. So we lost our way. We lost the way, but the fact of the matter, the ancients said that it's intellect and it's mind that controls conduct. Right. I can control this, so I can't say I couldn't help myself. And I got crazy, and I just said, either you're gonna do it or I'm gonna take it from you. What kind of crazy stuff is that? It's the mind, you see? And so our ancestors had this whole schema that allows us to look at that and find that Atmu has to do with the divine eternal soul, the breath of life that is everlasting. We are eternal. We are eternal. I will never die. I will never die. My name is Wade Nobles. I am the result of my father's father's father, whose name was Wade Nobles. So my beginning in this permutation was I was born in 1836. I was born in 1836. When Wade Nobles, who was a captive African on a plantation in Edgewood, South Carolina, had to figure out how he's going to take this ugly, horrible situation and look across the plantation and see this woman and write her a poem. How do black people do this? How do we enslave, and torture, look across the yard and see a sister and fall in love? And in falling in love, everything that love requires me to do is to accelerate you. They think love makes it like Harlequin coming novels, like, oh, I'm something in love, I don't do myself. No, there's something called spirit talk. And spirit talk, we need to investigate that. I believe in the science of human function. Next one, please. And so the meaning of being human has to be corrected. It's not the meaning of being human, it's the meaning of being spirit. In the Bantu Congo, remember that Ba? That Ba is part of spirit, the first Ba? And Into in Congo means life force. So we get ba into, bantu, ba into, to have the spirit of life force. That's a reinterpretation of the same term. But what they've done, taken Bantu and made it like the word nigger. In South Africa, you know, Bantu, Stephen Biko was an insult. So black people, I don't want to be no Bantu. We don't Bantu. Like we said, we don't want to be black. That's that mental derangement. That's the spirit damage. I think, look, but the Bantu say that being human is to be a spirit, to be energy, to be power. So I want y'all to walk away thinking about, I'm spirit. Well, how do I do spirit? And we can figure out how to do black folk, black physical beings. We do all that stuff, and we figure out how to negotiate with a piece of the pie, all this stuff we talk about. But no, now the new problematic. How do I do energy? The human being is a spirit who affirms one's humanity by recognizing the humanity of others, and in so doing, I'm compelled to respond to you in humane ways. When I recognize you, I can't say, for purposes of instruction, I can't say, bitch, where's my money? I can't say, heifer, you know what, man? How come my dinner ain't ready? I can't say, you better come on with it. No, when I recognize you, my humanity requires me to recognize your humanity, and in recognizing your humanity, I'm compelled. I ain't got no choice, it ain't optional. I'm compelled to respond to you in humane ways. That's what young brothers, they don't know what to say. How you doing, Queen? And little brothers, what's up, Queen? Hey, Queen. They think they don't know that spirit talk coming out of them. We recognize our sisters as our queens. That's spirit talk. They didn't just take some stuff, we're going to be romantic and help king. You know, in the past life, I was a king. I was the king of the Ashanti. Everybody can't be the king of the Ashanti. Somebody had to be the guy who carried the horses in the barn. There ain't nothing wrong with that. I don't mind being that, but I'm saying recognize that there's a spirit talk that happens with us all the time. But we don't see it, we don't hear it because we don't understand our own stuff. But the Baptist said that the human being is a spirit in motion, unfolding. I'd like to say, without being egotistical, that you are looking at the baddest black psychologist you've ever seen, right here. And tomorrow, I'm going to be more better. I'm bad now. We'll wait till tomorrow. Because what? My spirit is in motion. We're all of us, not just me. We're in motion. But terrorism requires you to stop movement. And so we are the victims of psychic terrorism when we stop our movement. Figure, I graduated high school, that's all I got to do. Oh, I got a promotion, all I got to do. No, we are constantly in motion and movement. And so this notion of motion, of unfolding report, the human being is a trifold, unfolding, radiating experience. I want you to write that down. I'm going to teach now. Write it down. Human being, the spirit being, is a trifold, unfolding, radiating spirit. I'm trifold. I'm unfolding. I'm radiating. I'm vibrating. I'm trifold. I am in the yet to be born. I am in the living. I am in the afterlife. Those are the three realms. Yet to be born, living, afterlife. And I radiate and vibrate all those things. We can do spirit now. We can now find some sister who's pregnant. And if we're going to experiment and look at the kind of noise, sounds that are surrounding her while that baby's in her womb. Play acid rock, you get one kind of child coming out. You play rhythm and blues, you play spiritual, you play John Coltrane. You see what I'm saying? That this energy, vibrating, radiating spirit that we're going to look at. And then finally, the being human can be understood by the interlocking realms of essence. I'm essence, I'm spirit. I am also an expression. You see me, and you can locate me in time and space. I'm an expression. You can locate me in time and space, and I'm an experience. My experience as Africans in America are so vulgar and hostile that sometimes it cripples me. So the experience has to be aligned with the essence. I'm an essence, I'm an expression. I'd like to say this expression is all right. Can't say I'm cute because men ain't cute, but I sure am ashy. Being ashy, this woman here